Within seconds, an Israeli airstrike brings down this building in Han Yunis, a city in the south where hundreds of thousands of Palestinians had fled from earlier battles. But despite the threat of airstrikes, Hamas militants managed to fire off a barrage of rockets into central Israel at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. In Gaza, tens of thousands spent New Year's Day in tent camps. The UN says 85% of Gaza's population now displaced. Half are at risk of starvation. In 2024, I wish to wake up to discover this was all a dream, says this 12-year-old girl. Israel's military says it's scaling back the number of troops deployed to Gaza over the coming weeks. It comes as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces international pressure to shift to a lower intensity war in Gaza. And now he's dealing with a political blow on the home front. It centers around a controversial judicial overhaul his government passed in the summer, triggering nationwide protests. It rolled back some of the high court's powers, preventing it from overturning laws it deemed unreasonable. But now, a twist. The Israeli Supreme Court has struck down a key component of that legislation.
Well, this comes as not only is Israel in the middle of a war, which is a huge crisis, but now it potentially creates a kind of constitutional crisis for the government.
It leaves Netanyahu in a precarious balancing act, and some experts say Hamas has exploited Israel's domestic upheaval.
That created a big crisis that Hamas perceived as a Israeli weakness, and that allowed it to start the attack on October 7.
So, Tanya, this Supreme Court decision could have an impact on the war.
That's right, because right now Israel is run by a fragile coalition government, and Netanyahu is already unpopular. Experts I spoke with suggest this could further erode his support, and that could lead to a shift in the government's priority. So that's being closely watched, including here in Washington. The White House says Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris met with national security officials on the Middle East today. No word at this point what came out of those conversations, Renee.
Thanks, Tanya.